What up, though? I am Fontaine, the Titan. Back at you once again with some dope information for you. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We about to break some things down for you real quick. Let me start it off like this because it's a lot of misunderstandings out here, right? So we about to get down to the root of a misunderstanding that I've been noticing out here, right? Because, you know, with me personally, I've been going around into situations, right? And been observing how people, you know, describe themselves, right? So, you know, especially me being, you know, a single person out here dating women or whatever. And, you know, women always want to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm spiritual. Yeah, I'm just so spiritual. And then come to find out, they ain't got no really clue what they talking about, you know? So, you know, an example is I'm talking to this one young lady and we, you know, she say, oh yeah, I'm spiritual. I see your crystals and all of that cool stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm all about. I'm on a real high spiritual level, you know, getting into my personal self, you know, knowing thyself, you know, getting things to a higher level, you know. And she like, oh, okay, you know. She say, oh, I'm spiritual too. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, so you don't deal in religion? She like, oh, no, I don't mess around in religion at all. I'm like, all right, bet. We might have something to build on here. You know, I'm a little excited, you know. She's sexy, pretty, you know what I'm saying? Got the big booty and everything, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, we might be able to make something happen here. In my mind, I'm thinking that she on the same level that I'm on because she's saying she don't even deal with religion and stuff. And she's a spiritual person and she want to get into more of her spirituality. I'm like, all right, bet. She like, well, you know, I say, well, go check out my YouTube. You know, look at some of those videos, you know, and see if I'm really the type that you want to really be all about because I'm really on some other stuff that ain't nobody else really on out here. There's not no regular everyday stuff that people be on. She like, all right. So she come back. She's like, yeah, I checked out your YouTube and you on all types of cool stuff, blah, blah, blah. I want to learn more. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool too. You can learn from me if you want to, but you really need to be learning yourself and researching yourself, you know? So we get to talking or whatever. And next thing you know, her questions started to become a little bit more on the Christian side of the game, you know? And I'm thinking like, all right, well, if you a spiritual person, how far deep into your spirituality are you if you say that you're not a religious person, right? Well, I asked her, I say, well, you say you're not a religious person and you say you don't go to church. She says, no, I don't go to church. I don't mess around with no religion. So I had to ask her straight up like, well, do you believe in Jesus? She like, oh, yeah, I definitely believe in Jesus. He died for my sins and all that. I say, well, how's you not a religious person and you believe in Jesus? Because that's what that's all about. She say, oh, no, I'm not religious, but, you know, I'm a spiritual person, but I believe in Jesus. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's a disconnection here with me because my understanding is the definition of what a Christian is, right? So let's break down the definition, right? Okay? Christianity, by definition, according to Oxford's online dictionary, is the religion based on the person and teachings of Jesus Christ, or its beliefs and practices. So if you believe in Jesus, then you are automatically a Christian. There's no way around it. You can't disassociate yourself from the religion if you still believe in the religion, right? But let's take this a step further, right? We have from Oxford's online dictionary the definition of spiritual. Because she says she's a spiritual person, right? Okay. Spiritual. Relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul. As opposed to material or physical things, right? So, the whole concept of it is you can be a spiritual Christian. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But if you're denying the fact that you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus, then there's something else wrong. And we're about to get into another definition, another term here that you're going to have to get yourself familiar with, all right? And this term is called cognitive dissonance. This is a psychological term, and this term means cognitive dissonance is the mental conflict that occurs when beliefs or assumptions are contradicted by new information. The unease or tension that the conflict arouses in people is relieved by one of several different defensive maneuvers, okay? So this is the way people try to block that feeling when they have this cognitive dissonance, okay? They either they reject it, explain away, or avoid the new information, right? They persuade themselves that no conflict really exists, or they resort to any other means of preserving stability or order in their conceptions of what the world and themselves are, right? So this is what we got to get down to, because a lot of you Christians are suffering from cognitive dissonance even within your own religion. Forget the fact that there's information out here to explain the whole Jesus thing, explain the Bible, and explain a whole bunch of stuff if you actually do your research. But the fact is, you're cognitive dissonance in your own religion. See, if you're a spiritual person, you're going to try to get to know thyself, know oneself, raise your own vibration on a higher level. And you do that by researching, understanding, meditating, getting into all of the cool stuff that really the spiritual aspect is all about. Because when we're talking about spiritual, we're talking about the metaphysical side of the game, okay? So if you're not getting past this physical reality and getting into what we call our higher selves, then you're not really doing no spiritual work. So calling yourselves a spiritual person and you still believe in Jesus is kind of a conflict within itself, especially if you disassociating yourself with your religion, right? Because here's the thing about it, right? I can respect a lot of other religious people out here based on how they carry themselves, right? You have Muslims out here, the Islam people, they don't run around saying, oh, I believe in Muhammad and I believe in Allah, but I ain't no Muslim. They don't say that. They don't say I'm not a Muslim, but I still believe in all of this stuff. Yet you got people out here who will disassociate themselves from the religion of Christianity, but yet still believe in Jesus. I'm mind blown by that. Claim who you are. Look, ain't nothing wrong with being in your religion if that's what you want to choose. Hey, it ain't meant for this type of stuff that I'm on, that this spiritual awakening stuff, this ain't really for everybody. But if you on the spiritual side of the game, because I be seeing Christians out here, Christians be having their crystals and their candles, and they be praying and then meditate too. All right, whatever it is that y'all doing, that's fine. But if you still believe that Jesus died for your sins, then you a Christian. And so you need to go ahead and claim that. Now, if you're trying to get into spirituality, you can say, all right, bet, I'm a spiritual Christian, right? You can say I'm a Christian in transition. You can, whatever you want to do, but don't take away that badge of Christianity and then try to slap on a new badge of spirituality, all in the name of you don't want to admit what you really are. If you're a Christian, you are a Christian. It's nothing wrong with that if that's where you are in your level of consciousness. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to change nobody's minds. And what happens is you get people who are indoctrinated into Christianity. They run into a spiritual person like myself and they say, oh, I have a bunch of questions for you. And then when I start answering those questions, now they want to try to reel me into a debate. No, I'm not falling for that. I'm not getting into that. I know what I know, and you can believe what you believe. And you can do your own research to figure out a whole bunch of stuff. See, the whole concept of getting to know yourself and getting into higher levels of vibration and understanding the laws of polarity and the laws of vibration, the laws of rhythm and all the Hermetic principles, understanding the chakras, understanding the Kundalini Energy, understanding the history of the world and the events that took place to bring us to the state to where we are now. And in order to be able to take that information and transcend it into a higher level, that's the spirituality I'm all about, and plus much more beyond that. But if you a Christian and you denying the fact that you a Christian, then you in a whole different realm of cognitive dissonance. Because the fact is, if you believe in Jesus, you are a Christian, go ahead and own it. Go ahead and be about that life. If that's what you do, then that's what you do. But don't try to camouflage, okay? Don't try to masquerade. Don't try to act and pretend that you are something that you're not. Because deep down, the reason why you a Christian is because you're scared. And they got that fear trapped into you, thinking that you're going to go to a hell that they made up when you die. And if you can find somebody that been to hell and came back to tell me about it, then by all means, bring them to me and we can have an interview with them. Because as far as I know, in the history of humanity, ain't nobody been to hell and came back to tell about it. So this hell that y'all afraid of, I'm going to need a little bit more substantial proof on it. If that's the reason why you a Christian, is because you're afraid of going to hell. And if you talking about going to heaven with Jesus and all of that stuff, then that's all cool too. But don't disassociate yourself from the religion and try to get on the spiritual side of the game when you're not about that life. This is a whole different type of understanding. This ain't for the weak. This ain't for the scared. If you scared, go to church, right? You know the old saying, if you scared, go to church. And just because you don't go to church, don't mean that you're not a Christian. That just means you a lazy Christian. That just means you a Christian that don't feel like going to church. But you are definitely still a Christian. So let's get this out of the way, lay it down flat out for the people out there who having a little bit of confusion in their mind, suffering from a little bit of cognitive dissonance when it comes to their religion. Because I can give you all the information in the world about the Bible, the astrological essence of it, the esoteric value, the occult knowledge, all that stuff. And I can explain every single drop of it to you to the last detail. And at the end of the day, you still go believe in Jesus. So that's up to you to decide if you want to accept the information. If you want to continue to suffer from cognitive dissonance, right? Because I can't get inside your head and make the choice for you. That's up for you to make the choice yourself on what you're going to do, what you're going to believe in, and what you're going to know, what you're going to be afraid of, and what you're going to take accountability for. Because I'm taking accountability, and I'm doing this in the way that I know how, by getting into myself, learning more about myself, learning more about the world, and learning more about spirituality on the for real aspect of it. See, most of y'all that claim that y'all spiritual out there just saying it because y'all think it's a fad. Y'all think it's cool. And that's because y'all see a bunch of people out here talking about Ashe or whatever, and Hotep or whatever people doing out there, and everybody saying peace, and everybody calling themselves kings and queens and gods and goddesses. Hey, you can do all that if you want to. But if you still believe in Jesus, you still a Christian. So let's lay that flat out and understand who you are. Because I'm not the one telling you that you're a Christian. Your actions and your beliefs dictates that that's exactly who you are. So don't come at me trying to holler at me and thinking that you about to be all cool with me. Hey, look, go get you one of those Christian people to go kick it with on that level. If you want to learn some information, that's what these videos for. If you want to get into your higher level of learning for yourself, you got to go do your own research, because these videos ain't going to do no good for you if you just go watch them and then still go continue to be where you at mentally. You ain't did nothing but let it go in one ear and out the other. And at the end of the day, I don't care what decision that you decide to make, but just own up to really who you are out here, right? With that being said, hey, be who you are. Love who you are in all aspects of who you are. And if you still want to be a Christian, fine, but claim it. Don't claim this spirituality game if you're not about that spirituality game. Or like I said, say you're a spiritual Christian. Say you're a Christian in transition. Say I'm a confused Christian, or whatever type of Christian you want to be, but don't eliminate the fact that you are a Christian. Because if you still believe in Jesus, that's exactly what you are. So, peace to the fam. Love y'all. Holla.